used to show to tourists that indeed they came to visit the ancestors. And so names of descendants of the captives of the slaves.
So here is a plaque where on August 15th through the 24th, 2019, exactly 400 years after the beginning of the Middle Passage, 400 descendants of African slaves, they came back to Ghana, Africa to do a 10-day pilgrimage. And this particular group that did the pilgrimage were members of the African Genesis Institute. And as you see here, all 400 members left their name on the plaque.
Oh my God.
Each time we descended into this exposed brick castle, it felt like entering the depth of the underworld. I can only imagine what this must have felt like for our ancestors who had to endure such brutal suffering.
So this was the state of the condemned cell. So originally a storage room. Looking from the back, they blocked it, converted it into a cell to kill the cats here because at a point in time they couldn't stand it. And so in here, when they bring them, they leave them in here for them to die before the bodies are taken out. When they bring in 5, they open to check 3 are dead, 2 are still surviving. They shut the doors back for all 5 to die together before the bodies are taken out. And so instances that living being chained or sleeping beside dead bodies, smelling the stench, just waiting for their turn to die in here. And they had 3 doors in here. First door is what we saw out there, still in existence. There was a second door to the middle and a final door in here. So in here, no amount of air penetrates into this place, no light penetrates into this place, no food for them, no water. They struggle, they die before the bodies are taken out.
Elmina Castle holds immense historical and cultural significance as a reminder of the transatlantic slave trade and its devastating impact on African communities. Many people visit Elmina Castle to learn about its history and pay their respects to the victims of the slave trade. The castle is also a popular tourist attraction, offering insights into the past and fostering conversations about the legacies of colonialism and slavery. Elmina Castle contains a variety of rooms that served a distinct purpose during the era of the transatlantic slave trade. European officials and merchants lived in relatively comfortable quarters, often on the upper levels of the castle. As you can see here, this is where we're walking. They enjoyed amenities and privacy not afforded to the enslaved populations. The rooms that you saw earlier here were the slave dungeons. These were the dark and overcrowded spaces where enslaved Africans were held before being shipped to the Americas. Dungeons, particularly the women's dungeons, were known for their appalling conditions, including lack of sanitation, and were often packed with people. And there was also a specific dungeon, which was designated for enslaved women, with staircases leading directly from the governor's chambers. The castle also included a church, a space that served as a place of worship for the European residents and as a symbol of their dominance. Some spaces in the castle were used as administrative offices. These spaces housed the castle's administration, managing the trade and overseeing the castle's operations. The castle also included storage areas for goods, including those related to the slave trade. The contrast between the luxurious living spaces and the horrific conditions of the dungeons highlights the brutality of the slave trade and the dehumanization of enslaved people.
From here, everything is original. So this is pitch pine wood. With the door we saw down there in the condenser, I made mention it was made up of pitch pine wood. So pitch pine wood here. This marble seeds or marble tiles. Everything original, over 200 years old. Nothing has been restored in here. And to where they are selling the craft. Slave trade period, this was the soldiers' barracks. The building to the middle was the soldiers' canteen. Colonial period, they converted the place into a prison for Ghanaians. But out of education and litigation, they didn't understand why. The same place the enslaved ancestors should be a prison for Ghanaians. So around 1952, during the Lawrence regime, they moved it from there to the cafe. Currently, this place has been converted into an art and craft shop. Soldiers' canteen and a cafe shop. So from the bar to the prison, art and craft shop, soldiers' canteen now a cafe shop. Place in the shop. So here was once a prison. Even when tourists were coming in here. To the entrance there is a coat of arms there. When you are getting out, you can check it. Which symbolizes that this was used for a government purpose. You see the governor's residence. Up here, the living room for the garden. So I made mention we try to compare all the storage and the water pipelines. The living room 9 and 5 and there was a reception and the reception was just like an apartment for the garden. So one man out here, no family members, no wives. But in the dungeons, we saw small rooms serving as windows for the ancestors. When we sum all of them or when we put all of them together, the 9 wouldn't be up to 1 window, but one man up here while the ancestors were down there suffering. So we tried to make a comparison. Like they say, judgment is not important. If we are to judge, we have no one to be protected. Because both parties were involved in the trans and romantic. Africans bringing war castles and the Europeans also bringing them, which contributed to this injustice. That's why the judgment so let's see the first factor. The rest of why is going up.
In 1757, during the 7 Years' War, a French naval squadron badly damaged and nearly captured Cape Coast Castle. This event was likely one of the most important reasons to entirely reconstruct the castle, which was quite notorious for its collapsing walls and leaking roofs. In 1762, an extensive spur ending in a tower was built on the western side, and in 1773, a high building along the north curtain was erected, during which the last remnants of the 17th century fort were demolished. Green Hill Point, a bastion to the east of the castle, was replaced by 2 new bastions with a sea gate in the middle. To the south, 2 new bastions named Grausel's bastions replaced an old round tower as the main defensive work. The tower, which now had no military use, was extended in the 1790s with 2 stories, now becoming the governor's apartments. The space below Grausel's bastions was used as the new slave dungeons.
When we step down from here, everything is original. Over 200 years old, nothing has been restored to the site.
Original.
Yeah, everything is original. Wow. This is what they do.
Communication room.
So I made mention there is a small hole that serves as the link to receive signals from the fort we just saw. And so when you stand here, you can see the fort directly. This was the link. And so whether they wave the flag, they use the mirrors or the torchlight to come through to this point directly. So the soldiers here will get the signals they get on board to protect the castle. And so you can confirm for yourself. You watch, you join me down.
How many soldiers were stationed here?
You can watch it.
In the
You
castle,
can go and
about
watch it.
100 soldiers will be. I don't know the actual number. As officials in here were close to 200.
200, okay.
Yes, all the officials.
You can watch it. Where is Mama? Okay.
Look at you, Samuel.
It is.
So reception for the governor to receive his visitors. There's a small room to the back, and that was the personal office for the governor. This was just like a winery for the governor to store some of his drinks and other stuff. So he was drinking out here too. And the cannons all brought in by the British to protect themselves from other European nations from taking over the castle and the trade from there. And so all this over 200 years old. And so when they identify enemies coming, when they get on board, they pound gunpowder in the cannon gun. They put the cannon ball on. There is a small hole to the tip. They light a match and fire to the tip. They shoot the approaching ships. The cannons, they have two types. One, they have holes within them. For that one, they put in gunpowder. When they put it in and they shoot, it blasts the approaching ships. But for the ones without holes, they just put it in. When they shoot, it creates holes in the ships so that the ships can sink. And so the cannonballs, they have two types. One with holes and one without holes. So you have a close look to the cannons. You can see there is a small hole here. When they pound the gunpowder, put in the cannonball, from there they light a match of fire to the tip. And they shoot the approaching ships. And each of them travels about 400.
Now, what were the ships when they came? Because there is no, the port doesn't allow ships, no?
They bring dock to the shore. They couldn't, because of the roof. So they dock by a smaller boat to transfer the large ones. They had smaller boats. And all these will move up. When you check the ones there, the beams are not there. All of them. So you can point it out for the other. And it was very good. Now, I mean, application. So all of them will move up. No question. You can have a feel of the ball, you step down, after.
What's the name of the movie with the guys that took over the ship?
Amistad.
Amistad. So, what is it called? Not insurrection. What's it called when they take over the ship? Mutiny. So the mutinies that